making process, and what factors did you consider, and why did you choose to ultimately stay? So go ahead, Dammy, you're up.
All right. Hi, my name's Noemi. I'm an 11th grader at Basis. So obviously I chose to stay. And I did consider leaving Basis when I was in 8th grade. I was like looking at other possible high schools, but there are some main reasons why I chose to stay. And I think like one of those main reasons is the community at Basis. I think like the college counselors, which I'll talk later as well, teachers and the fact that I had all my friends there and the fact that you know everyone who you're surrounded with since 5th grade. I think that that really factored into my decision because like with the teachers, for example, most of my teachers have taught me twice, at least. And so that contributes to our relationship and that contributes to, for example, when I ask them for letters of recommendation or when I like talk to them after class and I'm like, hey, I wasn't able to do the homework today because like there's this home thing that's been going on. Do you mind giving me an extension to tomorrow? It just like it builds this personal relationship with your teachers and your fellow classmates that you might not have somewhere else. I think that community is like a really important aspect of why I chose to stay at Basis because like yeah, you just have that personal relationship and you just know everyone so well. And so that's really helpful. Another thing is, as Mr. Rose mentioned, you get a lot of opportunities to take AP classes, and so therefore a lot of opportunities to take, well, first of all, not only to learn more and to be challenged academically, but also to take AP tests, which then colleges look at and are usually impressed by. Um, so that's really helpful. And then in terms of extracurriculars, that's probably one of the main reasons that I was looking at other schools. But for the past like 7 years now, I think it is that I've been at Basis, the extracurriculars have gotten significantly better. I've been in debate, for example, for the past 2 years, and that's been absolutely amazing. I love my coach. Um, and the sports have gotten also significantly better. I did track right before quarantine and basketball this past season, and I'm doing track now. And track has gotten some really cool like wins, I guess, during competitions. And the basketball team has significantly improved. We'll just say that, as well as the soccer team. And so you can just see it like getting better every single year. And so I think that's like, first of all, that's really cool to see. And second of all, that shows that there not only is room for improvement, but we're making that improvement. And I think like in a few years, we'll have like actually pretty good teams. Um, and then the last two things are about like colleges and like moving on after basis. So the first thing is our college counselors. The ratio of college counselors to students in like junior and senior classes is really good. It's better than what you'll get at most schools. And I think for me, that's been super helpful because, first of all, our college counselors are super experienced. They know what they're doing. And they like know how to help you choose what colleges you want to get into and then help you get into them. And so they're able to actually like pay attention to you and they know you because like I said before with our community, like it's so tight knit that they not only know you from your classes and from your achievements, but also they know you personally because they have that time to build that relationship with you. And so that's super helpful. I mean, I'm only a junior, but I've already talked to my college counselor multiple times, which is more than some of my friends in other schools have. And so like I know that's already come in handy and I know that that's going to come in handy even more in senior year. That's the last thing is senior year. The first two trimesters are super interesting capstone classes. Ever since I was in 5th grade and I heard that Utopias and Dystopias was a class, I wanted to take it so bad. And just in general, they seem super interesting. There's also like a forensics class, which like figures out, which like solves a murder at the end of the year. So like it's stuff that's super interesting. And also you learn things that are going to be similar to college. So it's like preparing you for that at the same time. And the last trimester is a senior project where you get to focus on something that you really care about. I think is really cool and I'm definitely going to do. Um, so yeah, I just talked a lot, but those are the main reasons why I stayed at Basis. And I definitely do not regret my decision.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing. That was wonderful. And Teron, I hope you're ready. You're up on deck. You're next. A little bit about what went into your decision making.
Hello, how's everyone doing? My name is Jerron Hickman. I'm currently a sophomore at Morehouse College and obviously a graduating member of the BASIS community. My journey was a little different. I didn't really realize why I should have stayed at BASIS until after I left, after I graduated. I enjoyed my time at BASIS, don't get me wrong, but I feel like once I graduated, I realized the worth and the value that came with a BASIS DC high school education. Going into college, it is a shock for a lot of people, but I feel like I was a little more prepared than a lot of my peers. I had lecture style classes in high school. I had different subject matters. I didn't just take, 2, 3 subjects. There was a higher level of learning. I was taking algebra classes freshman year, 8th grade year, when a lot of my peers that were taking that in senior year of high school. So coming into college, I kind of got my footing a little better than I would have if I left Basis and went to a different school. I actually did contemplate going to another school my junior year in high school or junior, sophomore year in high school, but I definitely stayed at Basis. I felt like it was the community that kind of drew me to the high school environment at Basis. Obviously, a lot of people I knew went to Basis. The staff is really amazing. And once I met my college counselor, I just knew I wanted to stay there, because I knew I had a plan junior year. I knew that like my grades weren't as great as they could have been, but I knew the school that I really wanted to go to was the school I'm attending now, Morehouse College. And I knew that to get me there, I had to work with Miss Krug, my college counselor that I had. So I don't regret staying. I think staying at Basis got me where I am today. I think if I went to a different school or transferred, then my odds of being where I am or getting into the school I'm currently attending would have been a lot slimmer, just because the rigor of the Basis course load. I didn't really believe it at first that Basis student profile held so much weight, but I at the end of my senior year, once I got waitlisted to go to Morehouse eventually. I mean, at first. Eventually, I got in just based on calling Morehouse College and updating them on things I was doing my senior year with my college counselor, updating them on grades I was getting in these different capstone classes, and a lot of other schools, they do capstone classes at universities to get college credit, and we're doing that in-house at Basis. And I think that kind of spoke to the rigor of Basis and kind of, I wouldn't say it kind of swayed their decision, but it gave them a holistic view of, who I am and who Basis is as a high school. So I feel like graduating from Basis is definitely a great decision, for all the parents who are kind of deciding where their kid's academic future is held next, or next steps for their child's academic future. I definitely recommend that you at least attempt to, feel out what's next at Basis and what Basis really has to offer. That's all I have. That's my piece.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hickman. Definitely appreciate it, and congratulations, sophomore at Morehouse. I can see your college behind you, so we're happy that you made it to where you wanted to be. And up next, we have Miss Littlejohn, who is a current Basis parent and a Basis alum parent as well.
Wow. Good evening, everyone. Now, I have to echo their comments. Wow, it's amazing to sit back and reflect on my decision-making skills to support my students staying at basis. So I have a current 10th grader, as well as a student that graduated in basis second graduation. She graduated in 2019. And to be completely transparent and honest, basis was not my top choice. We really wanted to seek other educational opportunities, one that would give her a balance, right? So back then, you're talking about the second graduating class. Basis didn't have a lot of extracurricular activities, right? Everything was about structure. It was about academics. And I wanted to really find the balance because she was one of those type of kids that needed such a balance. But, after pondering over the decision and we meeting as a family and not getting accepted into some of the other schools for DC top performing schools that we applied to, we decided to stay. With that decision, as I sit back and reflect on it, that was the best decision that we possibly could have made. Best decision. I'll explain to you why. My student, 2.5 GPA basis. 2.5 GPA basis is probably a 3.8, 4.0 at your traditional DC public school, okay? When we applied for schools, I was a little worried because, I was worried from the perspective of, is she gonna be able to get into all these colleges with a 2.5 GPA? The college counselors, wonderful. We had a lot of our friends who kids attended other public schools. Counselors, not supportive, not there, but the counselors at basis, there from them from beginning to end, from the 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Very supportive, very responsive, reviewing essays, college counseling letters, everything that you would expect in a college counselor, they had, versus some of the college counselors at some of my peer schools. None of it. When we started applying, Simone applied for 17 schools. Of those 17 schools, Simone got accepted in every one of them, okay? Not waitlisted, but accepted. We decided to home in at VCU, okay? Simone gets to VCU. We're dropping her off at campus. She says, Mom, I need a communication journal. When she was at basis, that communication journal was the furthest thing from her mind. But one of the things that basis taught her was that bit of accountability and responsibility and to be prepared. So that communication journal, we mailed it to her the night before. She went on campus, looked to where all her classes were. That's the skill that she got from basis. She knew when classes started on that Monday morning, she was early for each one of her classes because she knew the importance from being at basis. One of the things that, I was very concerned because, basis got this rigorous academic curriculum. And I was just wondering, is basis going to ever kind of put a team together to kind of take a look at some of the data and kind of figure out whether or not these students, where are they now? Because those are questions that I would ask. We only had one prior graduating class. So me as a parent, when we would go out and we would see students, I would ask them, do you really think that basis prepared you for where you are now? And to be completely open and honest with you, every student that I've met have said yes. And it's interesting from a lot of different perspectives because Simone graduated from basis with a 2.5 GPA. Simone is now a junior with a 3.8. This young lady has gotten a 3.8 since she walked into VCU's door. Her GPA has been 3.8 every semester. She's volunteered on campus. She knows about community. She knows about giving back. She understands the importance of the education arena. And I have to admit that being at basis has a lot to do with that. I'll tell you why. I would ask Simone, she would say, I was in my biology class and we had this assignment. And if only I paid attention at basis, Mom, because we learned that in the 6th grade. Here she is in college, a junior in college, And BASIS has prepared her to be this successful junior at VCU. Not only that, but right now, BASIS has prepared her in such a way that she applied for a scholarship at VCU. This scholarship is a scholarship where many don't get, okay? And it was a scholarship about community and just all the wonderful things that she's doing on campus. As a result of being at BASIS, she understands the concept of community. She understands the concept of wanting to do her very best. And that's what she's doing at VCU. She is one of the top 3 finalists for this scholarship that will pay for her education for her senior year. She went through her interview probe. She's also a teacher assistant. She's also a mentor. She's also serving as a vice president for, I think, 3 or 4 organizations. If she didn't stay at BASIS, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't really think that she would be exactly where she is without the support system that she had there. And I'm very honest, I'm very frank, I'm very transparent, but you know, me thinking about this and thinking back the way I felt some years ago, I really honestly know that the decision that my family made for her to stay at BASIS was the best decision for her, and it's the best decision for my current 10th grader. So, Mr. Rose and all the administrators at BASIS, from my family to the BASIS community, I would just like to thank you. And I would like to just, you know, I know you guys are going to keep striving to make sure that you prepare our children to be successful in this very competitive world.
Well, thank you for that, and congratulations on the scholarship. I hadn't heard that one yet, but I know we talk on occasion, but that's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you everybody for sharing their feedback, their thoughts, and ideas about staying at BASIS. I do have both of our college counselors here on the call, so in case you haven't met them, if you don't mind, Dr. Hausdorff and Ms. Krug, if you want to turn on your cameras and wave and say hi so folks know who you are. Our fabulous college counselors they actually pair with your students starting at the end of 8th grade. So you'll be assigned a college counselor starting in 9th grade, and you'll begin meeting with them in groups in 9th grade. You'll meet with them individually as a family and in the summer after 9th, and in 10th grade. You'll meet with them. You'll go to college visits with them starting next year in 9th grade. We have over 200 college visits a year, somewhere in the vicinity of 200 college visits a year. And in 11th grade, that's when you really start ramping things up. I think you meet with them 3 times in 11th grade, and then every single day in the 12th grade, you'll be with them for 50 minutes, working on those applications, working on those essays, making those phone calls that Jerron was talking about. And I remember that marathon phone call. I think it was 3 hours Ms. Krug spent on the phone with Morehouse for Jerron just to make sure he got that admission from that wait list. So we're definitely here for your students. It's a program that you don't get access to at other schools. You don't get access to the APs. You don't get access to the close-knit community. You don't get access to the college counselors. We do hope you stay, but we also hope you might have some questions for our panelists here today, either the college counselors, Ms. Lewis, our Director of Academic Programs, or myself, of course, and the panelists. So families, you're able to raise your hands and go off mute. You're able to drop questions in the chat. And with our last couple of minutes here, we'll take any questions that you guys have, and hopefully give you some insight about the decision to stay at BASIS for 9th through 12th grade.
I'd just like to say congratulations to those graduates too. We knew you had it in you all the time, so please say thank you and hello and all that good stuff. Jerron, you look fabulous.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, so we have a thank you, not a question, but we have a thank you to the panelists from the Seth family. Phenomenal presentation, students and moms. So thank you guys all. And we have a hand from Aaron. Aaron, go ahead off mute and share your question with us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Oh, okay. So, my daughter, she's in 8th grade, currently at Basis, and she's been there since 5th grade. And I do have a, I guess I do have a couple of questions. My first question is, because I know, I think her biggest concern, just like the young lady, I think who's in the 11th grade, which is the extracurricular activities. I know it's not as I know it's growing since my daughter's been in 5th grade. It has grown. So if there's an extracurricular activity that's not there, do y'all follow DCPS where you could participate in another school extracurricular and still attend basis? Do y'all follow that with DC, like just like DCPS?
It's a great question. We do partner with local charter schools and occasionally with DCPS schools for specifically athletics that we don't offer. So for example, we have, I want to say 3 students playing lacrosse for E.L. Haynes right now, and a handful of girls varsity basketball players playing for another team right now as well, I believe. In terms of extracurriculars, like a club, we haven't partnered much with other schools in the past. I would say with extracurriculars in specific, we honestly haven't needed to. One of the things we pride ourselves a lot on with extracurriculars at Basis is if students want to start one, they can. And so I actually think Naomi is a great example of this. She's been super involved in 2 clubs that she's really helped form. One was the Minority Student Alliance, and another was and I'm going to say this one wrong, Naomi, I know you're doing it right now, the Young Women Project. I said it right. Okay, great. The Young Women's Project was actually a citywide extracurricular that she works with and has brought a lot of their programs and has worked to bring some of their programs to Basis DC. So we definitely always encourage that. I would say academic extracurriculars, we have some especially strong ones like speech, debate, model UN, chess, science Olympiad, math Olympiad. Almost all of those teams, we go to either regionals or nationals every year. Okay. And then some of the kind of more fun extracurriculars, we offer as many as we can. And if your student is like, I really want to bring the dance team back into prominence and let's get dance going, we absolutely can do that. And actually, in Geron's year, we had a really strong dance team. Obviously, during COVID, our dance team has kind of fallen off the wayside a little bit, but we can always bring it back. So things like that, we always pride ourselves on student advocacy and wanting students to reach out and start things.
Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you for that. My other question, or my last 2 questions, my other question is in the 9th through 12th, they complete comps like they do in the previous grades?
No comprehensive exams. That's the other great thing about high school is you don't have to do comprehensive exams anymore. And the reason for that is, if you think about it like really big picture, the point of the Basis high school experience is to prove that students are college ready. That's why we do AP exams. That's why that graph was the way it was. And to do that, we know we need to teach at a college level. Well, college level classes, as I'm sure Geron can tell you, are about 2 things. They're about critical thinking and inference making. You have to make connections, you have to draw upon ideas, you have to weave kind of really big, complicated sets of facts and thoughts together. Oh. And one of the things that Basis as a network realized when we first started was it's really hard to teach basic facts and skills at the same time as teaching inference making and critical thinking. That's what a lot of high schools try to do. They try and cram everything into the course of one AP year. What happened in 1812, in the War of 1812, and also how did the War of 1812 lead to the collapse of the economy in Western Europe, which then led to the rise of colonialism in East Asia. Those are too many things to try and do in one year. So comps are about, do you have the facts and skills? We separate out the facts and skills to middle school. Comps are just, have you met the baseline benchmark minimum? Once you get to high school, we don't care did you meet the minimum, because you already did, you already proved that to us. Instead, we start focusing on, can you take that minimum and start tying it together? Can you write a beautiful essay about how the War of 1812 led to a rise of colonialism in East Asia, and use documents to support your evidence. That's really what we focus on in high school, and it's because we want to prove to colleges that our kids are college ready.
Okay. Okay, that definitely makes sense as well. And my last question is, let's say you have a student who, I'll say probably by the time they hit a junior year and they say, you know what, I don't want to go to college. How do the counselors and the administrative staff help the student prepare to exit out of high school and to be able to navigate, life moving forward without college? Like, what is it? Is everything always going to be college focused, or is it going to say, okay, we have a student here who made the decision they don't want to go to college, so how can we assist them to be able to be productive adults in the world without a college education?
And that's a great question. I'm going to give some big picture framing, and then I'll see if the college counselors want to share as well on the more kind of individual level. The big picture, like the biggest picture framing, is we are a college preparatory school. So like that is who we are. And I would never lie to you and say that's not part of the fiber of our being. We are college preparatory. But we recognize that we're trying to find college experiences that are right for the individual student. Jerron had a dream of getting into Morehouse. We have seniors who have a dream of going to a technical university. We have seniors who have a dream of going to art school. We have seniors who have a dream of going to a culinary institute. And let me tell you, we had a student graduate in our first graduating class, went off to a four-year culinary institute, and I went on an anniversary dinner with my husband to a Michelin-starred restaurant. And by God, that guy was there serving in the restaurant because he went to the technical to the culinary school. So the idea that we wouldn't push your student to get into some sort of college, that's never going to happen. We will always push your student to get into something so that they can extend themselves and grow. But what that something is where that individual student level and that relationship with the college counselor is so important, because maybe it is a less formal institution, and maybe it is just you want to take a year off. We have many students who get into university and then defer because they do just want to work for a year and make some decisions in the in-between time. So Dr. Hausdorfer, Ms. Krug, and then I see Jerron wants to share as well. Dr. Hausdorfer, Ms. Krug first. Any individual student conversations spring to mind there?
Yeah, I would add, I think the idea of behind basis being college preparatory is the value that having that opportunity, should you want to take it, is very valuable. And so when we're working with students, we are, talking to them about create those opportunities for yourself. If you choose not to take it when you graduate from high school, that's fine. People have different pathways through their future, but creating that opportunity and having that opportunity, if you do choose to use it, I think is really strongly of value and part of our push here. I think it is quite common for students to take a gap year. I ran into a student from last year's class, actually, who had been accepted, deferred because he wanted to play soccer, and had gone off and played soccer for a year, and in the meantime, been recruited from another university and was going to be starting at Howard in the fall. So, and he's very excited about that, and it was just a whole new path for him. I think part of what we do is try to, when we first start talking with our students in 9th and 10th grade, is sort of try to meet them where they are. Not all of them will say, yeah, I'm excited about college right now. Some of them are, not even sure about 10th grade so much. So I think we really try to hear them where they are and get them to start thinking and exploring about what that means after basis, and kind of help them individually from there. Our process is a very individualized one for all of the class each person in the class.
I would agree with what both of you said. I would also add to that that choice is important. I think Dr. Hausdorff hinted at this, but sometimes students, when they're 17, 18 years old, don't know what they want. And we certainly offer them different opportunities and different choices. But sometimes we also guide them to those opportunities and choices by suggesting that maybe they have something in their character, in their interests, in their whatever, that they might possibly want to explore at some point. So that's sort of it. Let's look at some schools that maybe might interest you. And then when the time comes, you know, a lot of what we do in even developing the lists of schools to which students apply is to give them a variety of types of schools, of different choices to make, whether it's a financial decision or a location decision or an academic decision. We want them to have choice. And part of that is at that point in their lives, deciding what they want to do and when they want to do it and having opportunities to choose.
Thank you so much, and Sharon.
Kind of building off of what Ms. Krug was saying, a lot of it is about exposure, honestly. Sometime between my 10th and 11th grade, I thought that college was unattainable for me. I didn't think that I was going to be where I am today. I definitely didn't think I didn't really foresee myself going to college. I didn't really have that strong urge to go. But the thing is, and I think a lot of my peers in my graduating class would agree, is that the right college can make anybody want to go to college. And one thing that BASIS is really good at is exposing students to a wide variety of colleges. Like a lot of the colleges I applied to, I didn't even know existed until I went to some of these college meetings. A lot of colleges come to BASIS. A lot of colleges come to BASIS. There's like 3+ different colleges coming to BASIS weekly when it's right around that time when students are applying. So I think a lot of it just breaks down to exposure. And I'm not going to say the college is for everybody, but I feel like if a student is on the fence and don't really know what they want to do, seeing different colleges can really make them want to go. I didn't know I really wanted to go here until I saw the school. And I feel like that's a very important part, especially in this virtual space. It's harder to get out to college campuses and take that in-person tour, but a pro of it is that, you can take that tour from your computer at home. You don't have to commute. You can see the college, not in its full capacity, but you can get a pretty good idea of if you'll be comfortable there, if that's somewhere you want to be. Colleges have lots of public records of what the campus looks like, how big or small it is. So just all in all, exposure is really important. I think that's something that BASIS does a really good job of.
Thank you all. And if there's other questions from the parents, we're coming to a close here in just a few minutes, but we still have time for a few questions. If anybody wants to raise their hand or drop a question in the chat. All right, well, it sounds like, Sharon, nope, that was a mistake.
An accident. I apologize.
I was like, what's your question? You're already out of here. You already know. All right, folks. Well, not having any other questions, please join me in thanking our panelists sharing their experience today. And give a little round of applause emoji. Put a thank you in the chat for them taking their time. Anything from a BASIS student who's sacrificing time on AP homework to come talk to you guys, to a college student who's skipping that one really important college frat party to come talk to everybody, and of course our lovely parent. I'm just joking. So thank you all for coming. If you do have questions, you guys know how to reach me. You know how to reach Ms. Lewis. And if you do have follow-up questions for the panelists, you can send them to me, and we'll make sure they get along to our panelists today. I hope you guys choose to stay at BASIS. Like I said, when you first came to this school 4 years ago now, and you were at a tour or an open house with me, I said to you, I want your student to come for 5th and stay through 12th, and that remains true. So I hope you guys stay through 12th and get access to the amazing experiences that this school offers. And I hope you shine like the stars for Giants. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
There was a question in the chat.
Oh, no, I
Are
missed
there,
one.
it's okay. Are there colleges that have a large intake from Basis DC? And I don't know, Wendell, if you know that off the top of your head.
You-
That's varied.
Yeah, I think it does vary, and it
Mhm.
varies each year. I mean, there are some sort of go-to
Mhm.
colleges as safety, sort of safer targets. But it does vary a great deal.
Seth family, if you need to reach out, the college counselors are happy to talk further about your specific student and what they may want to, or what schools they may want to attend.
All right, folks. Well, I see we're mostly all off the call. So in about 1 minute, I'm going to press end meeting, or actually Miss Lewis will, because she set this one up. And you're going to be kicked out. But again, thank you so much, panelists, if you're still here. It was lovely. And families for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.